cannot imagine what you and your family have gone through. Boy, y'all want power. God, I hope you never get it. I hope the American people can see through this sham. That you knew about it and you held it. You had no intention of protecting Dr. Ford. None. She's as much of a victim as you are. God, I hate to say it, because these have been my friends. But let me tell you, when it comes to this, you're looking for a fair process, you came to the wrong town at the wrong time, my friend.
He wasn't done. 25, go.
Do you consider this a job interview?
The advice and consent role is like a job.
Do you consider that you've been through a job interview?
I've been through a process of advice and consent under the Constitution.
Would you say you've been through hell?
I've been through hell and then some.
This is not a job interview.
Yeah.
This is hell.
This
is going to destroy the ability of good people to come forward because of this crap. Your high school yearbook. You have interacted with professional women all your life, not one accusation. You're supposed to be Bill Cosby when you're a junior and senior in high school. And all of a sudden you got over it. It's been my understanding that if you drug women and raped them for 2 years in high school, you probably don't stop. Here's my understanding. If you lived a good life, people would recognize it, like the American Bar Association has the gold standard. His integrity is absolutely unquestioned. He is the very circumspect in his personal conduct, harbors no biases or prejudices. He's entirely ethical, is a really decent person. He is warm, friendly, unassuming. He's the nicest person. The ABA. The one thing I can tell you, you should be proud of. Ashley, you should be proud of this. That you raised a daughter who had the good character to pray for Dr. Ford. To my Republican colleagues, if you vote no, you're legitimizing the most despicable thing I have seen in my time in politics. You want this seat? I hope you never get it. I hope you're on the Supreme Court. That's exactly where you should be. And I hope that the American people will see through this charade. And I wish you well. And I intend to vote for you. And I hope everybody who's fair-minded will.
Fabulous. You see, Cory Booker, there's a Spartacus moment. Right there. I think the Democrats have done enormous destruction to our judiciary. They've done enormous destruction to our judicial confirmation process. They've done enormous destruction to the Senate. And the reason is, ladies and gentlemen, is the reason I tell you all the time. They are progressive statists. They don't care about the Constitution. They don't care about the integrity of people who come forward, who offer to serve, to spend their lives in top positions rather than earning money in the private sector. It's all about power and it's all about ideology. Can you think, when the president nominated Kavanaugh, of a more unimaginable tack that they would take? As was put today, they saw that the hearing did not succeed in stopping him. They thought they would get a Susan Collins or a Lisa Murkowski, so forth. But he did very well during the hearing. So then they went into Plan 2, Plan B, if you will, the second phase. That's why they sat on Dr. Ford's letter. I actually have a lot of questions about Dr. Ford's motivation. I have a lot of questions about the timing. But you're not allowed to ask, apparently. You're not allowed to question it. I really do. It serves no purpose at this point. Serves no purpose at this point. The Democrats today on the Senate Judiciary Committee at this hour, soon to be 7 p.m. Eastern Time, look glum. They look glum. That everything they tried failed. problem is they created a precedent for future Democrats. And they'll always ratchet it up and ratchet it up and ratchet it up. You've created a precedent. You thought Bork, then Clarence Thomas, and then the others, and then they go even here. It's funny that the Democrats didn't mention the latest allegation. Isn't it? Interesting. They need over-the-top allegations, but this last one was so over-the-top about so-called rape trains every weekend for 10 weekends, and the accuser would leave college and go to this high school party every weekend where these things occurred. Nobody knows what the hell she's talking about. Can't think of a single witness, single perpetrator, of course, except for Kavanaugh and his friend Mark Judge. How convenient. And I want you to look at the media. The media have run with everything. The media actually had NBC News, and I read it to you last night. A breaking story, an anonymous letter from an anonymous accuser with anonymous witnesses and an anonymous daughter. And that was on NBC News website. You had cable channels, among others, running with the second accuser, Ramirez. No witnesses, no corroboration, no evidence, reluctant, but the Democrats dragged her forward. And as you've heard by now, even the loathsome New York Times has such low standards, but high enough, apparently, that they wouldn't take the story. So who did? Ronan Farrow and Jane Mayer. Jane Mayer, known to be a hitman on the left. Ronan Farrow, clearly in this case, a befuddled buffoon. A moron. Because of politics. And then Dr. Ford shows up. She's the first. Then Rachel Mitchell, prosecutor for the Republicans. Despite what you're hearing by many, through very careful questioning, exposed numerous gaps in Dr. Ford's recollections and so forth. Then comes Brett Kavanaugh. The analysts, including on our favorite network, senior judicial analyst, says it's all about credibility. It's all about politics. It's all about motion. Well, that's not the way I go. It's all about the truth. Only in a courtroom. No, that's not true. Your home's not a courtroom. School's not a courtroom. And you expect the truth from people, don't you? You demand it. It's all about the truth. They didn't have much faith in Kavanaugh. You should have heard some of the analysts. He's way behind. He's way behind. Like we're watching a baseball game. He's way behind. It's going to be difficult for him to catch up and come out the winner here. And even if he does, if it's 50-50, he still loses. I had to shut it off. I put on C-SPAN. C-SPAN. It's often like how I watch the UFC. They never shut the hell up, so I turn the volume down, I mute it, and I just watch the guys fight. And the gals too. But the media helped create this spectacle. They're already reaching conclusions about what must be done before the hearing, during the breaks in the hearing. And there's one analyst in particular, I won't mention her, she used to work in the Obama administration, who's such a predictable hack. Whenever she shows up, I gotta turn it off. I'll be right back.
Mark Lopin.
This is called buying time. Oh, there it is. Got it. You know, I want to tell you about my X-Chair and Mr. Producer, too. He was such a fan of my X-Chair. We finally decided it was time to get him his own X-Chair. And he loves it as I love mine. And we